Hi, I'm Janie. Welcome back to the JC League House. In the video before last, I outlined my original plans for the house. I was going to flip it, kind of. It was not a traditional flip where you rush in, gut a house, and put in modern conveniences and then put it back on the market in a hurry for a profit, but a more sensitive approach with more restoration in mind, hoping to break even and find a buyer who wanted to preserve the original character of the house. It was a risky proposition in more ways than one. There was a lot unknown about the condition of the house, but it was clearly bad and would take a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money, to put things right. I was always raised that it was somewhat vulgar to talk about money. It just wasn't mentioned in polite society, but it's hard to talk about the decisions I'm making around the house and what to do with it without understanding the money side. Everyone's been so kind and supportive, except for one. And many of you have suggested I set up a Patreon account and start accepting donations to help me fund the house. And I felt like I wanted to explain why I didn't want to do that or really need that to do the restoration I had in mind originally. But also at the same time, why money is one of the driving forces about deciding what to do with the house going forward in the long term. As I explained, I never intended to own this house long term. I wasn't going to live here. I never expected to spend a single night here. I viewed myself as a temporary steward or savior of the house, whatever you want to call it. What I could do was keep it from falling down and pass it on. Remember, it was for sale for a couple of years and no one was buying it. The condition was getting worse by the day, and I felt compelled to step up, even if it was just for a short time, and make an attempt to save this house. And I knew going in that short term was all I could afford. I am a realist about everything in life, and I know myself. I knew it would be one of the hardest things I've ever done to turn this house over to someone else and walk away, especially after working so hard for 2 or 3 years to bring it back to life. But that's what I committed to do, and I knew that day would come. But let me take a little bit of a tangent here for a minute and address kind of a hot button issue for old house enthusiasts here. I know people have strong opinions about old houses and what should happen to them, but I don't think there's one right way. Houses are built for families. Through most of history, we were born at home and died at home. They exist to give us more than shelter and security. We raise our children in them and make memories, and they inevitably get sold and passed on to the next family or generation. Houses get remodeled and updated all the time. I've toured fabulous castles in Germany that have undergone extensive renovations that make them unrecognizable from the original so that the next king could have the latest in fashion or modern conveniences. League-Kempner was a widow, and she remodeled this house to make a home for herself. She had a large family and made this a place where multiple generations lived together, family and friends congregated to share their lives and make their own memories. She may not have done what you or I would have done, but it was a house full of love, and here are the changes already made, and they're part of the history of the house. I also hear people say you shouldn't buy a house you can't afford to fix, but I don't think you have to be rich to take on preservation of a house. Getting back to my rules, I think you should be able to make it safe and stop further deterioration. And beyond that, there's nothing wrong with taking decades to repair or fix up a house as finances allow. I don't have a trust fund, but my resources are good, although not unlimited, and I felt I could raise enough cash to secure the future of this house and give it a life for a new family to call home. Let me tell you how. Just like my grandmother was a product of the Depression, I'm a product of the hyperinflation of the 80s. I purchased my first house in college at an interest rate of 16.5%. Yes, I was obsessed with home ownership that far back. I purchased my first car with a note of 21% interest. That seems so foreign in today's ultra-low interest market. It almost makes me laugh when I hear people whine about interest rates going up. In my mind, it's like free money left sitting for the taking. When you buy a house and take out a mortgage or a loan, a large portion of your payment is taken up by the interest part, and it takes years to get to the point where more of your money is going to pay down the principal. So at 16.5%, it's crazy how little of your house payment goes to pay down the principal. Because of that, if I could scrape together $1, or if I found a quarter on the street, I took it to the bank and put it on my house payment. It ingrained in me a pattern of behavior that I still exhibit today. I hoard money and pay cash for everything. If I can't pay cash, I can't have it. If I want to buy a car, I set up a savings account and pay myself every month until I have enough saved to buy the car. It doesn't matter as much today in today's low interest rate market, but that's my 40-year habit, and it's hard for me to change. And that comes directly from how my husband and I built our life when we were young in that area of hyperinflation. It also taught me something else. If I saved up front and had cash in hand, when I went to buy something, I was in a much stronger negotiating position. I learned quickly to negotiate a price as if I were financing something, and then when I thought I had the best price I could get, I'd start over and say, if I pay cash today, what deal can you do for me? You'd be shocked at how much money you can save. My background set me up in a position to buy this house. I had no plans to ever buy another house, but when interest rates hit their lowest level, I thought, what can I do to get in on that action? My house was already paid off, so I took out a huge mortgage on my own home and set that money aside just in case an investment opportunity came along. My husband and I also owned our rental property free and clear after 35 years of paying off mortgages. Our master plan for retirement was to periodically sell a house and use that to supplement our income for a few years and then sell another one. I also had an IRA from when I worked, and my mother passed away and left me a small inheritance. And here's where you're going to think I'm really crazy. I took that mortgage money, my IRA, my inheritance, and I sold a third of our rental property and created a war chest to buy and fix this house. My sister even offered me up her inheritance as a loan to backstop me in case I got into trouble, and a close friend offered to back me as well. Their faith in me just leaves me speechless. But all this crazy scheme was predicated on selling the house in 3 to 4 years. It was a big risk, but I believed it was a risk I could control. The house was insured. I could sell it at any time if I got into trouble. All the work I would be doing would make it easier to sell the next time. It's better than it was when I bought it. But you can see why I needed to get most of my money back by selling the house as planned. Even if by some miracle I could wing it and slow pay the renovations, the cost of owning a house like this is huge. Let's take a high-level look at those costs. If the house were completely fixed up and there was no other work to do, there'd still be annual expenses that need to be paid. Here's a high-level list of some big-ticket items. Yard maintenance is big because the yard is big. Utilities are high because there will be close to 12,000 square feet to air condition when this house is done. The property tax and insurance are tied to the increased value of the house once it's completely renovated, and the county is relentless about raising the appraised value. After owning it less than 4 months, I got an appraisal notice that the new assessed value more than doubled what I paid for the house. Notice that the property tax is the single largest expense on this list. Then there's just general maintenance. None of these things add any value to the house. It's not an investment that you can get back. It's just money out the window. Even if I do my apartment plan in the basement and rent out the third floor, the rent I'd receive doesn't come anywhere close to covering the ongoing annual expense of this house. I don't know about you, but that's a lot of money to come up with year after year after year. So these are things that I've been going through in my mind. Can I have outdoor events, make a little money on the side if the first and second floor aren't restored? Can I keep mowing the yard if I got a better lawnmower? Could I sell my sister's house and make her live here? Can I give private tours? Can I raise chickens and sell eggs? You name it, I've thought of it. I even factored in my Social Security income that's right around the corner, going on Medicare and not having to pay private health insurance, and driving my old car another 10 years. I know how to squeeze a penny. But the recommendation from Caleb at Second Empire Strikes Back and the monetizing of this YouTube channel threw another factor in the mix. I always thought if I crossed that threshold and got paid by YouTube, I'd get $5 or $10 a month. I had zero expectations of making real money. But just in the last 30 days, since things have kind of blown up, my monetization projection for the month is over $1,000. That's huge. I know it's not repeatable since many of you binged early on in the month and are now caught up, but even if it's $300 or $500 a month, that's real money. And now that I know it's real, maybe if I paid attention to it and worked at it, who knows? Maybe I could earn $1,000 a month or get a sponsor and earn $2,000. Or maybe I could add a Patreon account and take advantage of some of the generous offers y'all have made to help me monetize this. But, you know, it could be a real game changer. In the end, I decided I could hang on for several more years if I really slowed down the pace of the work. But money is not the only issue. I'm not young. 10 years from now, I'll be 75, and I won't be sprinting up and down the stairs like I do now. At some point, this house will have to be sold. It's inevitable. My kids, this is not their passion. As I said before, it hurts my heart a little bit when old houses get totally redone for modern living, but I understand and respect the need for change. I also think that not all houses are created equal. Some houses stand apart from the rest, and the League house is special. I love, and I mean really love, the originality of this house. There's nothing else quite like it in Galveston or this whole region. The craftsmanship, the tie to two of the most influential families in Galveston, the embodiment of 130 years of Galveston history is incredible. I've also had an overwhelming sense from the very beginning that this house shouldn't be owned by anyone, not me, not any single person. And every day I'm here, that feeling gets stronger. Maybe that's why I've never once imagined myself living here. This house was meant to be shared. The outpouring of support from all of you viewers just proved my point. Many of you have offered your own money to help me do something that you'd get no direct benefit from. Even if soliciting and accepting financial help through YouTube solved all my financial worries, I still don't think I should own this house. So, drum roll please. Boom. After discussing it with my family and friends, and with their help and support, I've been working with an attorney to set up a nonprofit corporation with IRS tax-exempt status that will take over ownership of the League house, so it won't be mine anymore. The house will, I'm gonna cry. The house will have a life and existence beyond me and will be available for everyone to enjoy. I'm not teary-eyed because I'm sad. I'm like this because I'm a control freak and I have a big transition to get through. Right now, I don't answer to anyone but myself. A nonprofit is a huge fiduciary responsibility with a lot of legal requirements, financial reporting, different kinds of insurance, bank accounts to open and manage. All that stuff will take a significant portion of my time to set up and run right. That is not my passion, and frankly, I dread doing it, but it has to be done right. I also have to take a pause and rethink my overall plan for the house again, because restoration will now be the primary focus. The good news is the nonprofit won't pay property taxes, which you saw is a really big deal. If I manage to hang on to the house another 10 years, it could waste almost $300,000 on property taxes, and that's money that can be directed to restoration. If I can start fundraising and applying for grants and organizing volunteers, which will also take time away from the work on the house, that'll be a plus too. But there won't be a need to hurry things. I won't be under the gun to get finished and sell. So in the long run, it's what's best for the house. Even if I'd kept it for another 10 years, at some point it would have to be sold. No matter how careful I was trying to find the right buyer, there'd be no guarantee that the house would be protected. The Kempner Foundation tried their best, and look what happened. I mean, you see the condition it's in today. As the details get ironed out, I'll keep you posted on how the transition is going to work. Fundraising won't start until I have my IRS letter in hand, and that takes 4 to 6 months. But when that happens, I'll be making a plea for help. So take a lesson from me and start squirreling away your loose change. Tours are in the future, so check out Galveston as a vacation destination. It'd be so much fun to meet each and every one of you someday at this magnificent house that you helped me save. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you back here at the JC League House in Galveston, Texas. Nothing.
Okay, you're also recording.
Am I?
Oh, wait, here.
Stop!
And
Action. The help's taking a lunch break. We're being redneck on our old couch. Actually, it's an old valuable antique couch on the porch with the boards up, watching traffic.
this is the south.
The League house. Okay, you're in frame.
Oh, I thought you were filming yourself talking.
No, I'm not filming myself up close. Good God, no.
That's a good picture.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, well, I'll do that intro somewhere else. So,
I'll stand back here.
so here,
Don't let me back off the ledge.
don't fall off the ledge.
I don't know, maybe it'll fix my back. Okay.
This was my favorite Christmas present I ever got. Okay.
You're good.
Hi.
No.
Oh.
But-
Hi. Hi.
Gotcha.